mental health advocate. I do a lot of work with schools, hospitals and corporates to raise awareness of mental health, to challenge that stigma and to make people know that recovery from anorexia is 100% possible. Now I use running and exercise as a way to manage my recovery. I've gone from someone who used to be obsessed with working out all the time to actually now loving it, to really enjoying it, and using it as that positive tool to actually manage my mental health and manage my recovery.
So tell us about a book.
Yeah, perfect. So I've decided to write my book. So I relapsed in 2016 with my eating disorder. And when I relapsed, I wasn't able to get any support because I wasn't underweight enough. And I had this realisation that actually there's so many people out there who are struggling with anorexia, with other mental health problems, who aren't getting the right support and the support they need. Yeah. So I wanted to, I guess, educate everyone on mental health and get people talking about it and help break that stigma, but also to share my story because I know how tough it can be when you're at rock bottom, sat in a hospital bed, like trying to eat and trying to recover. And I wanted people to know that actually you can come out the other side and life can be really good when you get to that point and you fight that anorexic voice in your head.
So that's really got your journey about how, why and when and what you do now, really.
Yeah, pretty much. So it tells the story, I guess, from kind of what caused my eating disorder to where I am now, kind of my relapse, things that help me stay well now, all my coping mechanisms, everything like that.
So let's just talk about that then. Thank you firstly for sharing your story. I know you've shown it to a lot of people and schools in particular, which I think is so powerful for young people. Maybe take us back, just when you were young. What was your general background? What, how many siblings you got, mum, dad? Just tell us about that a little bit.
So I'm one of 5, so 4 of us are really close in age, and then I've got one younger sister, Molly, who's 8 years younger than me. So family life was always quite hectic, really busy, wasn't particularly stressful, so to speak, but kind of from the age of 9, I really struggled with dealing with my emotions. I didn't really talk about stuff and I found it really difficult at home. My older brother is wonderful now, but when we were growing up, he was quite difficult, was quite angry a lot of the time, and I really struggled with that. I also, when I was 12 years old, was sexually abused for about 8-9 months by a family friend. And for me, I kind of wanted to hide all of this stuff because I felt really guilty about it and I didn't know what to do about it. I felt really ashamed. And my coping mechanism was to start exercising a lot more and to start skipping meals.
Wow. All right. So as a young person then, you had like a lot to deal with in terms of, I suppose, finding your identity within your family. Yeah. And then, I mean, to have like an awful thing happen to you when you were 12. Did you tell anyone at all?
Not at the time.
Happened?
No, so I kept it secret up until I was in the hospital actually, and then it all came out.
So it got to that point that you had to get admitted to hospital. How long a period did this take for the study to climb down? From when you were 12, say, when this
so I got admitted to hospital when I was 17, and so my parents intervened when I was about 16. So I went to my GP and then got referred to the Child Adolescent Mental Health Services. But with my anorexia, and with a lot of people who have anorexia, you hide it from everyone and you get so secretive about it, and you kind of want to be the best at having it, so you do everything that you can to stop people finding out, to skip meals. You become quite deceitful a lot of the time, and so it's a really easy thing to hide actually. And I felt that I didn't understand a lot of the time why people were trying to take away this thing from me that just made me feel so good and gave me this value and purpose every day.
So was that about control in the part of life that you couldn't control? So there's clearly, we don't need to go into detail, but clearly you were out of control in the situation that happened. Was this to take a bit of element of control for you?
Yeah, I think part of it was that. I think part of it, so the control thing was definitely an aspect of it, and I liked controlling kind of the amount of calories I had every day, and I liked that, actually, that part of it. But the other part was about like the emotional side of things, that if I wasn't eating, I wasn't going to feel things. And if I felt unhappy, I'd go out for like a long run, and then on the run I'd suddenly start to feel better again, and this voice in my head would kind of congratulate me, and then I'd then push myself harder, so then I didn't have to think about all this rubbish stuff that was going on at home.
Wow. So tell me then, so you're younger, at that stage, the doctors, your parents, your family, anyone else, what were they saying was going to happen? You know, I mean, you go to hospital. What's the process for a young person being admitted to hospital? What are they saying to you? Are they saying it's all going to be all right? Are they saying, right, we've got to help you, we're going to section you, you're mad? What are they saying to you at that stage?
That I needed to have help, pretty much.
Yeah.
My mum felt completely helpless. And actually, I remember the day she dropped me off at the hospital, I was crying, my mum was crying, and I was like begging her to take me home again, but she just couldn't do it anymore.
No.
And so, yeah, I guess they were just there to help me. And it was very institutionalised. I had like 3 set meals, 3 snack times, loads of therapy. But I needed that kind of routine and something to kind of kickstart me and make me realise that something was the matter.
Between 12 and 16, that's not instant, is it? It's not instant that you're going to, you know, like you say, you went to hospital when you were 16. So between 12, 13, 14, 15, you're still at school.
Yeah.
So what's happening at school? When all this happened at home, so you have to go to school. Who are you? What are you doing? How are you feeling in all of this? What's
pretty rubbish a lot of the time. I really struggled because I couldn't fix the situation that I'd got myself into. But I continued to hide all the eating stuff from my friends. I did rebel quite a lot at that point, so used to go underage drinking a lot with my friends, go out a lot in the evenings, stay out late, do whatever I wanted to do. And I also continued obviously to play a lot of sport through that time, so did a lot of team sport, which they still let me do at school, and no one really questioned my weight loss throughout that whole period of time.
So are they thinking it's because of sport and you're keeping yourself fit?
I think so.
Probably, and you hit
that,
right?
And most people think when girls start to lose weight in their teens, it's just the phase you're going to go through and you're going to grow out of that phase.
Yeah,
but I didn't.
So you go to hospital.
Yeah.
You're in for how long?
A year.
A year.
Yeah, it's
wow.
a long haul.
A long haul. And there's other, I mean, roughly how many other people were in the hospital with you at that time?
Probably
roughly the same age as well?
Range between 13 to 18.
18. Right.
Yeah, so about 12 of us probably. I was in a room with 3 other girls, 2 of which had anorexia, 1 of them had depression, and then kind of a mixture of other people with other eating disorders or OCD or psychosis as well. So it was quite full on.
How did it make you feel in that sense? Because, I mean, obviously you've got an issue, we know that you need help.
Yeah.
But how does that make you feel that you're now almost institutionalised, you mentioned?
Yeah, it was strange. I really needed it, and I needed that help, but it was strange being, I guess, shoved into a room with 4 other girls who I knew nothing about. Yeah. And the thing we had in common was that we had mental health problems, and that was kind of it. Yeah. And actually, the girls that I was lucky because the girls that I was in hospital with, I ended up getting on really well with. And apart from kind of the meal times, which were always quite stressful, like away from that, we all had a good laugh. And we probably kind of tried to be as normal as we could be, as you can be in a mental health hospital. Yeah. But yeah, it was a strange year. I think I liked it because I was always someone to talk to. So if I had a meal that I really struggled with, I had someone there that I could speak to about it. And obviously as my weight went up, it took so much longer for my mind to catch up with that and to accept what was happening. And I liked being able to just talk to kind of the nurses and the staff that were there whenever I needed to.
Education while you were there? What was happening?
So I did my A-levels. Yeah. So I didn't have schooling for probably the first 3 months, and then had like a teacher that came in with stuff once or twice a week. So yeah, it was fine. It wasn't like ideal, but I did my exams, and one of my motivations for getting out of hospital was that I wanted to go to uni and to have a career. So I knew that I had to have this purpose.
You had something positive to look at.
Which kept me going every day.
You know, what was the time when you knew you were okay to come out of hospital, or they knew you were okay to come out of hospital?
So I got a gradual discharge towards the end, so I was kind of allowed out once a week, and then kind of for longer terms, then only went in kind of a couple of days a week. If I'm honest, never felt ready to leave. I think I'd become so reliant on kind of that structure of food. It was all done by calories. So like having this set calories kind of at set times a day, I kind of relied on that and knew that if I had that, my weight would just stay the same and it wouldn't change. So they kind of made the decision that I needed to leave. And I was terrified. I thought that I would lose all the weight again. And part of me, I guess, was tempted to lose all the weight again, but there was something in me that kind of kept me going when I left and kind of kept me moving forward, I guess.
Come home?
Yeah.
What's it like coming home, out of a hospital, everything you've known, friends are there, and then you're in the real world?
Strange. It was really challenging. My mum was brilliant because she went and got like all this food that I'd eaten in hospital and filled the fridge with it, and they completely changed all their meal times so that they were kind of with the hospital meal times. So we used to have dinner at like 6 o'clock every evening, because I had it at 6 o'clock in hospital. So they were really good about that actually. But I found it really challenging, I think, because my bedroom had so many bad memories from especially towards the end before I went into hospital. I used to exercise at all hours. If my parents had made me eat dinner, I'd end up making myself sick quite a lot. And so I had all of this just horrible stuff that I associated with my bedroom. And just before I went into hospital, actually, I got put on these 4-sip drinks, which are high fat and protein drinks. And I'd somehow managed to empty the cartons out into bottles and refill them with water and reseal them.
Wow.
And they were all just in my room still. So it was things like that coming back, I was just I'd hidden all this stuff, and it was really challenging.
That's when you're 17.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
28.
In the past 11 years, what's been the journey? Because I'm assuming this doesn't just go. This isn't you just go in for a hospital for a year and then it's all okay.
Yeah, that would be the dream.
Right? Yeah, that's the dream and the ambition, and that's what you're striving for definite. But what's that 11-year period look like in terms of, do you have the relapses, the highs? Have you been in hospital since, or...?
So the first year I came out, or first 3 years, I guess, I was quite institutionalised. So I went to university. I kind of functioned, but still had this voice in my head all the time, and I stuck rigidly to my meal plans. Again, I was lucky because I opened up to some friends at uni about it. One of which, this girl Emily, who was so unbelievably patient in my first year at uni with me, and accepted kind of the weird eating habits that I had, and she just kind of let it go. I got a job, and one thing that really helped me kind of push my recovery further was I went travelling for a year and worked in an orphanage. And actually doing all of that stuff kind of helped me, I guess, keep progressing forward. Relapsed once in the last 11 years, so in 2016. My grandma passed away, and I really struggled to cope with it. So it was at that point that I ended up, after about 4 or 5 months of losing a lot of weight, I referred myself to a mental health trust, but then couldn't get the right support, which I found really challenging. Actually, I felt, for the first time throughout my recovery, I felt really suicidal a lot of the time and didn't know what I was going to do. Luckily, I've kind of pulled through that, and since then, I guess, I managed my recovery. I have really good days, but I do still have bad days as well, where I get up and I just hate what I look like and want to get into bed.
So what's next for Hope?
So I do this full time, so kind of talking about eating disorders and mental health more widely. So I'm going to keep doing that. I guess focusing not just on schools but also on hospitals. And actually I want to do a huge amount of work with junior doctors so that they can spot the signs of people who've got mental health problems and know what to say to them, and I guess with eating disorders particularly, make the point that it's not just about weight, and that you can then support someone so that they don't have to go to hospital and hit that crisis point to get that support.
Parents, family members, support team, friends, of knowing that somebody is going through these issues, what's your message for them? How do they learn to deal with it and help?
I think you've got to learn, I guess you've got to build that trust up with that young person, so that they can talk to you about anything. I think it's really important to make kind of happy memories away from mealtime so that that individual can remember those happy memories and not just remember their childhood as a distressing thing that's related to food. I think if you're worried about a child, you should just say something. I think a lot of the time people need someone to have that conversation with them before they can access that support. And actually making sure that your child knows that whatever happens and whatever they do, you're always going to be there holding their hand through it. You're not going to give up on them, and whatever they do is not going to, I guess, embarrass the parents.
Message for young people
who have anorexia and who might be struggling, kind of to know that actually you can get out of that, I guess, that kind of tough patch, and that things can get better again. And for people who are, I guess, generally struggling with their body image, try and find the positives in your body and actually focus more on things like that and things that make you happy.
We'll leave it there because we've got lots of people working out in our gym behind us. We're going to not distract them anymore. I just want to say a massive thank you very much for taking the time, and well done on this. And we will make sure that we put a link to where it is and how you can help people. And look at Hope's Instagram, get the book. I think it will help a lot of people. And thank you so much.
Thank you.